We're live. Oops. I put the wrong title. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. We're gonna talk about it. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Welcome. Drop your city, drop your zodiac sign. It's in the chat. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna post it, so if you can't watch it now, you can watch it later. What up? Drop your city, drop your zodiac sign. Let me pin a comment. We got a Pisces in Detroit. What up, though? We got an Aries in Salt Lake City. Hey. Zodiac sign. Tips appreciated. As Sacred Stripper, $ Sacred Stripper. Donate to our Healers Fund at Cash App. $ Heaven on Earth Reiki. You already know. If you want to find out where to donate, just go to the highlight in the bio on Instagram at hoesarehealers. What's up, y'all? How's everybody? My power is back on, thank God. Okay. All right, I did it. It took me forever. What's up, y'all? We got a Cancer in LA. We got a Pisces in the DMV. So good to see your beautiful face and wonderful energy. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. You guys are so cute. I love y'all. So it's nobody on Facebook or YouTube yet, but see, you guys, I have all my people on Instagram, but I want you guys to make sure that you subscribe on YouTube anyways, and the link is in the bio, because you don't ever know with our type of content. You just really don't know what's going to happen. So it's good to be on multiple platforms with people so that you can keep up with us just in case. Because sometimes Instagram, I'm not going to talk bad about Instagram. I'm just going to go about my day, go on about my day. So how's everybody? Drop your city, drop your zodiac sign in the chat. Let us know how you are. Because my energy is on 10, you guys. So let's get into it. This is the reading for the, it's not the reading for the Virgo new moon, but this is the Virgo new moon. And I'm going to give y'all a reading. And the reading, it's so funny because I changed the topic on here, but I didn't change the topic on here. So I wasn't even going to talk about this, but now I feel like as soon as I posted this, so many people joined. So I guess you guys really want to talk about this. Matter of fact, let me change it on Facebook and Instagram, because I know a lot of people are going to really want to talk about this. So this is the Virgo new moon healing, and we're talking about healing men. Men need you know what? Let's talk about healing men. First of all, we don't like to get into these gender binaries over here, We center LGBTQ community, so, we don't like to get too deep into the gender binary. But with the way that things are divided within our culture, it's like there's always a binary. That's how this shit operates. And so the binary between women and men, and the way to heal as a woman in relation to men, the need for healing of men, and the ways that men are also impacted by rape culture and patriarchy as well, is what we're talking about today. So this healing, so first of all, it's just like so much to say. Like, I'm going to start going, I always say this when I go live with you guys, I'm like, I'm going to start going live with you guys more, because I get like in my throat. So first of all, this is what's indicated in this healing and what we want to take this month to clear out, because there is a lot of backed up communication in the throat chakra, and you can hear it in my voice. If you know how to listen for stuff like this, like you can hear it in my voice. Like it's like I hear the energy that's stuck like right behind my throat, like in the back of my nose, behind my throat. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I see all those hearts, so I know you know. If you know, you know. Like you know, this is one of the things that I teach for my Reiki mothers is vocal tuning, because using your voice, you can you don't have to be a good singer, but you can use your voice to heal yourself, just like you use crystal singing bowls. So I can hear and feel the energy like behind my nose. It's so, and what it is, what it is repressed language that hasn't come out, and all the reasons why we repress our language, none of that matters anymore. We just got to let it flow and let it out. And so this healing, we were working with the muse Calliope, who is the muse of epic poetry and eloquence. And she inspired so many epic works, but these were works written by men, you know? And so we're in a renaissance where the dynamics, it's really interesting, because the like women's rights movements or rights for women or whatever has only really been a thing in like the past 50 years, give or take. So and it was, the women's rights movement was really like, you know, a white feminist movement that centered the needs of white women for voting and for like assuming inheritance and power, that would like more so equalize them with their brothers and with their, you know, husbands and like other men that were their same ethnicity. But when it came to the issues of people of color, a lot of times that feminism didn't really like apply, or, you know, it was always often used against us. And so, you know, later we learned things like Gloria Steinem was a CIA operative. There's reasons why we're indoctrinated into certain movements. And so now the same thing, like the Me Too movement is now like, you know, used like I told you guys about, you know, the elder that was targeted, where, you know, they were using the Me Too movement to target this Black elder in Detroit, who hadn't done anything. So, like, we're looking into the power of speech and the uses of language and the ways that these have been stifled within us, that in a way that supports the existing power structures. Because if we were to speak authentically and speak from our heart about how we feel, these power structures will crumble. They wouldn't be able to stand. So it's not only if we do speak, it's like it must be censored. But often we're censoring ourselves from the get-go, because we already know that it's dangerous to speak, and generations upon generations know that it has been dangerous to speak. But this has created this imbalance where like the important, so it's really interesting, because there's like an imbalance of masculine and feminine energy, and it's just in general. So in order for us as individuals to keep our vibration of a certain speed and in a certain frequency, we're basically constantly having to divest from a grid. Like, even as I'm on live with you guys, I can feel the energy of the grid pulling me towards it. And it's like, it's basically saying, like, if you will use me, then you must be a part of me. And like, in order for in order for my energy to flow through this grid, or in order for me to utilize the grid, it wants my energy to flow through it. Oh, here. I was like, why aren't y'all saying nothing? Oh, it's because I didn't see y'all. I was at the top. Okay. All right. Because I felt weird. I was just talking so much. All right, this is so important. I'm gonna watch the replay because I know I don't have the spoons for it right now because I already know what's going down. Woo, child. I'm gonna be back. Love vocal tuning. Okay. Hey, y'all. Hey. Okay. Hey. Can I have that hair? You are cute. YouTube found it. Okay, good. It's in the bio. Sub on YouTube. What's your Facebook? Amira Barakat Al Baladi. I'll put it in the chat. You guys can add me on Facebook. I've been in meetings all day. This is the first full day with power. Like, our power came on yesterday. Hey, Capricorn in LA. Our power came back on yesterday. So, like, I've been having so many topics on my mind of what I've been wanting to talk about, but this one really came through strong today. And I think that it's for me to like talk about this topic in necessitates increasing my compassion that I have for myself. And I feel very much on the spot. Like, I feel like I'm coming to a new realization where before, when I was filming a lot of these lives and things, I was like, whatever, nobody's gonna see this, or, it's just like y'all, like, no offense, no offense, but, I'm just sort of like sinking into the realization of like, that what I do matters and these things are important. And the way that our society has been structured and set up for so long, especially for Arab and Muslim people, it's been so patriarchal. Even just for me to show up, like, even like you guys don't understand the reason why y'all never see us anywhere is because we're very private. Like, for me to even show my bedroom, show myself, like, show up, I'm not encouraged as a person to like let people into my life like this, but it's something that I really enjoy. And it's so much healing that comes from it because you really can't like replicate just a real conversation with somebody. Like, but the thing is that through this medium, I can replicate a real conversation with so many people over and over and over again. And it's like y'all are having a face-to-face conversation with me. I come across so many people where I'm the first Palestinian person that they've ever met in their lives. And so it's like a big responsibility, but it's not, I don't, it's not like my job to represent positively for my people. And it's not a good feeling when somebody tries to like put you in a box or place expectations on you of like what you're supposed to be like. And so, Arab and Muslim women and people need to just be able to be ourselves. Like, we just need to be able to be ourselves and like show up as that. And there's just so many experiences that I've had, but all of my experiences come down to the fact that I'm me. So regardless of who's involved, this experience is always personal to me, and my ethnicity is always involved because it's me. It's my life. And, we live in a society which tries to like erase that fact or tries to collapse people into boxes, but ultimately, like, you can't take away the authenticity of somebody's experience. So, like, whew, yes. So it's really funny because when I started my page and just just the name hoesarehealers, like, and then my page Sacred Stripper, like, just to bring the spiritual sex worker essence out, people are confused, like, is this for men or is this for women, or like I said, we don't do those gender binaries, but they're like, who is this for? Is this for clients or is this for workers? And like, I've honestly, I never really was going too far deep into the whole, like, you know, client side aspect of it. What I've created has been for the industry professionals. Um, but of course, clients are always going to look, they're always going to be curious, and there's always civilians and non-industry people that show up for our lives. And when I say lives, I mean live streams, as well as our lives, our actual lives. But this is for us. And like, I work with a lot of people that we are literally, this is not exclusive to sex workers. It's basically just a femme like curse that's like, we're so trained for so many generations to like keep the peace and cater to what's needed to maintain peace with others, that even when it comes to wanting to say how we feel, it's like the words just won't even come out. So a part of this healing is letting the words come out, taking the opportunities to let the words come out and to let them rise up in you. And, you know, feeling the feeling of there's words clogging my throat. There, then, what else I also wanted to talk about was the divide. You know, that separatism is valid. Like, if somebody wants to live as a separatist, that is totally valid. That's not my path, but it is a path. And there there are lesbian separatists that do not want men around. They want to live like, you know, without them. People have separatist movements based on race and ethnicity. And you know, it's so totally valid. So what's interesting though is that what really caused me to start repairing my relationship with men, because I feel like when I was thinking about the concept of a lesbian separatist movement, I was like, actually, when I was a stripper, when I was like actively a stripper, and that was my full time job, I was living like a lesbian separatist, except for when I went to work. Like, all of my social interactions were with lesbians, black lesbians, and you know, that was that was my community. That was the main thing. Like, if I was socializing, and even within the clubs, it was a lot of lesbians that I worked with. You know, so it was a little like the attitude towards men at that time in my life. While I did sometimes have good relationships with men, it was mostly just, you know, I'm here in the land of women, I'm with women, and when I'm with men, they're paying me. And that's work. And I never really got into doing sugar daddies or hanging out with customers like a lot of other people that I worked with would, because I just really didn't want to be bothered with pretending to like them. And that's something that's always like, I've never really been able to keep up a sugar daddy, or even like, I had a sub, like I had the best sub. Well, I'm not saying he was the best sub ever because he was trash. He was a sub, but he, you know, we stopped talking. But the reason we stopped talking was because he said that he didn't feel that I gave him enough communication. But I'm like, I can't fake that, you know. And I don't want to. Okay, we got a Capricorn baby in Tulsa. Hey, baby. What's up? We got Capricorns in the house. It's always a lot of Capricorns here. I'm a Capricorn moon. I'm a Capricorn stellium, so you already know. And feeling these Virgo vibes. I think we're actually in the Libra moon now. What time is it? I think we're in the void moon right now. But when the moon gets out of bounds, then, or not out of bounds, but in bounds, then it will be in Libra. So these are some good relationship vibes, and I think that's why like we're talking about this right now. Um, you know, like there's just so many ways to approach these conversations and these energies, because masculine and feminine energies, these are energies within us. We all carry these energies. And sex workers tend to be more on the masculine side. That's why men love sex workers so much, because sex workers are more on the masculine side. When you're in your feelings, what they're used to with their wives, the reason why they hate their wives, sorry you guys, but it is what it is. Like, you know, the reasons why they're like, you know, enjoying spending time with the strip club versus like not wanting to spend time at home is because that imbalance of masculine and feminine energy. But what we hope for going forward in life is that there can just be more of a general happiness and balance within all people's worlds, so that they don't have to like run seek experiences, but they can just like, you know, be happy and chill. Like it's better energy for sex workers at work. It's better energy for someone that's like happy with their life versus somebody who's like gonna sit there and complain all fucking day about how his wife eats cookies in bed and he just can't stand it and he hates her. I'm like, you sir, like I don't want to hear this right now. Like, dang, can you shut up? But see, that's another thing too, is that like, you know, what a lot of times what these men are looking for is not even sex or sexual sensual activity. It's like they really just want to talk. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to believe when sex workers say that like I just get paid to talk. I mean, you know, don't listen to and don't, you know, people can say whatever they want to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, like a lot of times people just really want to talk and they just really want to be heard. They want to be validated by somebody beautiful and half naked or mostly naked. I had a sugar daddy, but I rejected the sugar because strong, independent person complex. What? No. No, but just take the money and run, baby. You don't owe him shit. Hey, hun, Taurus in Miami. Hey, boo. What's up? We got Aquarius in Orlando. Detroit Sagittarius popping in, sugar. Mwah. Saggies are my favorite. And you know, Detroit, that's my favorite. I have a masculine energy. Me too. Hi, boo. Hi, I've been following you for like 4 years. You are the truth, helping me to find it, accept mine. Oh my god, that is so cute. I love that. Because I've really been doing this shit for 4 years. Like, I started in 2017. So that's 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Bam. I'm 4 years in. And like, yeah, yo, this is a good lane to be in. The way that I've seen the culture change in this past 4 years, you guys, like, and it feels really good to be a part of that. I know what an active role that I've played in that and played in this movement, and that's exciting. That's why we have the app. You guys, if you guys like my page, you'll love the app because you can connect with the other people that are in our community and you guys can talk directly. You can ask questions, you know, you can like give feedback on other people's posts, and people like you can share your art and your poetry, like your pictures. You can post whatever you want on there. And there's healing tips and, you know, sex work tips. Like, we have a special separate group that's sex workers only. Yes, you've been here. I love it. I love it. It feels so good. Like, I made this lane for myself, you guys. I really was like, you know, I really thought about this for years. I thought about this for years. Like, you all know, if you know, I've been through some shit. Like, and the whole time I was like thinking about this and what I was gonna do, and I'm here, I'm doing it. Wow. So it's really interesting that this conversation is coming up under this topic of healing men, because I do feel like this is how we heal our masculine energy, is by doing what we want to do, following our passion and completing it and letting ourselves know that we can do it. The wound, like the core wound that I see with men, is self-esteem, low self-esteem, and anybody can be affected by low self-esteem. As and it's so funny too because I don't identify. I identify as a woman because that's my upbringing and that's the what I've been socialized into. But I identify very strongly with the non-binary consciousness because people have always told me like I'm too masculine or I'm like the guy in the relationship or things like that. And it always used to really hurt until I started to really understand my energy and that like yes, like my energy is assertive, it's aggressive, it's dominant, and that's something that I can use to make money for myself. And that's how I get paid. Are you serious? And I've been out here, like it hasn't been anybody out here doing things for me, and I've been having to, do that for myself. So what I found interesting about it is that like for someone who's like a really strong independent woman or identifies like strongly with that energy, like yes, it is hard to receive, like just like our friend was saying that a sugar daddy was trying to give her money and she rejected it because she was trying to be so strong and independent. And I've seen that with like right now, like just I just crowdfunded because I we didn't have power, we didn't have electricity, like I needed money. And I seen so many people that I know who are too prideful to like drop their cash app and let people know like, hey, I need your support right now. You'd be surprised who's going to support you. You don't know. And there's just such a stigma attached to it. And this is like this core wound of low self-esteem for men because men's value is based on how much money that they can make. So if a man is not doing well financially and that's how he places his value on himself, he's going to his value and the way he sees himself is going to severely drop, and that includes how he values others around him, and that makes him a dangerous client. Somebody that I know was like, oh, you probably love it when the guys probably like hit on you all the time and you probably love it. And I was like, sir, like, no, I don't. It scares me. I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do. They might try, they might, it's like I'm not going to put anything out there because actually I use energetic protection and spiritual self-defense. So I usually don't have a problem because I keep the black tourmaline on me, and the Labrador, right? So I don't usually even have a problem like that. And I pray, and my angels stay with me. So I don't usually even have those problems, but I've had enough of them in the past or at times when like whatever, when I wasn't fucking guarded up. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, walking down the street and seeing a man, and I felt immediately my body tense up, and I felt immediately scared. But I noticed it because of my meditation practice. This is why meditation is so important, you guys, because it slows your mind down so that you can see what you're doing and you can become conscious of it. And then you may not exactly change in that moment, but you'll give yourself the opportunity to identify issues, change, and grow from there. So, at this time I'm meditating daily, it's the beginning of the pandemic. And for me, a lot of buried memories and stuff, especially related to sexual violence, came up. So I've been knowing that it's been on the agenda for me to repair my relationship with men for a while. My relationship with men was so bad, I couldn't even work in the industry. I had taken on so much trauma. Like when I tell you, and it's just like I just wasn't willing to expose myself to that, and I didn't feel like I could protect myself well enough. And you got to know these things because it's a lot easier to prevent yourself from getting hurt than it is to recover after you've already been hurt. And it's really hard to have compassion for men when you've been repeatedly violated for them. Or by them. Why did I say for them? Wow. And that's another thing too, is that's how this rape culture operates, is that, first of all, men as children are extremely vulnerable and susceptible to being violated. And then as they get bigger and stronger, they're more able to like protect themselves, defend themselves, as well as violate others, but they're still vulnerable and they're still susceptible to getting hurt and getting abused. And then if anything bad happens to them, nobody cares. Also, like, it's like, I hate the fact that the whole conversation about sexual violence has been turned into a women versus men. issue, because what a lot of people don't realize is that sexual violence is at the core of every like type of violence. So incarceration includes sexual violence. War includes sexual violence. Prisoners of war get sexually violated. It's why is it a joke that prisoners like get sexually violated? That's, it's just like another one of those jokes, like when people make jokes about sex workers, or like, I don't even want to say, you guys already know, if you are telepathic, you probably already know the words that I'm thinking of, but I don't even want to say them out loud. Like, but why are these things a joke? Like, why are these things jokes? This shit ain't funny. And when people are laughing, they're vulnerable to spirit attachment, and you can hear the types of laughs. If you know, you know. And so it's like, when you catch a laugh like that, know that this person is like, possibly like infected by a demon. And I don't say that like in a way to vilify that person, because one reason why I feel that everybody should become a healer at this time is because we're dealing with like spontaneous spiritual possession, and people are really hurting, and there's all types of different things going on with people. We need to be equipped to be able to deal with whatever we come across. And for sex workers especially, because it's so many men are carriers of spiritual infection. You'll see it a lot with balding especially men that are young, that start to go bald in the front. Like, no tea, no shade, you guys. Like, this is a spiritual infection. So, this is something you can heal. This is something you can heal from. But the pride is what keeps a lot of men from healing, and that's that masculine energy embodied in us. When we don't want to accept, when you know that you have a lot to offer, then you should expect everything. You should expect everything and know that you do have a lot to offer. When you're a healer, like, look, you could be going bald, and I place my hands on your head, and you're not going bald anymore. And what happens when I place my hands on your head every day? Your hair is thick. Your hair is thick. But alternatively, what happens when you have a thick head of hair and somebody's touching you and you're going bald? You got to think about stuff like that. And, like, women are not innocent. Femmes are not innocent. And you know what? We're not supposed to be. We're not supposed to be either. So I'm not going to be too quick to let, dominant culture in on the methods that we use for surviving. People got to do what they got to do. It's very disgusting to see the fact that a lot of men think that it's okay to take their trauma out on sex workers. And so they'll think that it's okay to stealth you or to rob you, because that's how they're getting vindication for their mom that, wasn't there for them, or, mistreated them in some type of way. That's how they're getting vindication from their ex-girlfriend who did whatever, or their ex-wife who did whatever. Because they're so much not likely to deal with it in a straightforward way, they're mostly going to just dump it on the next bitch. Can you speak more on women not supposed to be innocent? Women commit sexual abuse and domestic violence at an alarming rate and don't get held accountable for it. A lot of people will be so mad to hear me say this. I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it in real life. So, I don't condone that shit. And it's like, I hate to see the movement, the Believe Survivors movement, being co-opted by people to try to use it to squash social movements and throw shade and dirt on people's names that are like important people in our communities. And I just want everybody to be extremely vigilant and notice when there's an anti-human agenda at play. And so it's really interesting, because coming from the lesbian community, a lot of lesbians feel like when they see somebody that was a lesbian and had a girlfriend or a wife, and then switches sides, and gets pregnant, has a man or has a husband or whatever. They feel like she was like never real. She was just experimenting or something the whole time. And I've always hated when people say things like being gay is not a choice. It's like they're trying to defend gay people and say like it's not their choice, but actually it is their choice. Actually, a lot of people make the choice that they don't want to deal with the opposite gender, so they'd rather deal with the same gender. Write that down. I'm like, read that again. Write that down. It's my choice because I did deliberately make a choice. I don't want to be in I don't want to be in the world of men and things that are important to men and making myself beautiful for men. I mean, I was a sex worker. Like that was my job, and it has always, like, for the longest time, it really made sense to me to live like that. Like, this is work. And this is real life, because the world of women was one that I felt comfortable in, because as a person who had been sexually violated, specifically by men, I have been sexually violated by women too, but mostly men from a young age. And then experienced abusive. I've been in an abusive relationship with a man and a woman. So like, anybody can abuse another person, and everything is designed towards heterosexual relationships. So when you are in a homo relationship, like, the resources are not there. The people don't even know it. Like, people don't really see that as abuse. They think it's just like, oh, you just got to fighting or whatever. But no, that's, that abuse can happen in those situations. And anytime there's a box, I just think we need to break out of it. Anytime there's a binary, I think we need to break it down. There's a lot of stuff I know about healing that I learned from being a sex worker, and that's how I know sex workers are extremely powerful healers, because just being in those type of toxic environments and like being able to maintain yourself, most could not do it. Most are way too sensitive. Everybody has different healing gifts. I'm not trying to shade nobody else. I just really want us to have our recognition and to know that like what you do matters. And sex workers, like, literally, if it wasn't for the healing that sex workers give to men primarily, this world will be a much different place. Like, a much different place. Much worse. Much worse. Come on. Yeah, I feel you, Sam. I was shocked when you said that about the early male balding in possession. My ex was like that, and ex-military, really negative energy. Yeah, you guys, military people have been thoroughly brainwashed into the system systematically. And anybody that has had a lot of contact with public schooling or public institutions, and anybody that, like, it's like, if you've ever been to jail, if you've ever been to juvie, if you've ever been to prison, if you've ever been institutionalized in a mental institution, if you've ever been hospitalized, if you've ever been through K through 12, if you've ever been in the military, if you've ever been to college, like, you have, if you've ever watched TV, if you've ever seen a billboard, if you've ever seen a movie, like, you've been indoctrinated. Congratulations, you've been indoctrinated. And the level of indoctrination is relative based on the time, the like length of exposure, pre-existing conditions. Was your parents also enforcing that? And all these things. Appreciating this convo, I have thought about my cis male comrades in my martial arts community and how they fought to reclaim the medicine of mutual combat from imperial social hazing. Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. That's lovely. Yeah. See? And we need this. Like, we need protection. I'm a martial artist, by the way. Cool. It's so beautiful. So my one of the things that really sparked my healing journey with healing or my issues with men was having young men and boys in my life. Like, I mean, first of all, I'm a big sis and I have brothers. But it's like, I still like had certain points where I'm like, I hate men, because of my different experiences and things. And I think that definitely had an impact on my ability to have relationships with my brothers. And then, like, seeing my friends have children that are boys, and just, I don't know, it's just opened up like a lot more compassion in my heart towards men. And one of the kids that's special to me is studying martial arts, and I think that's so positive for children, especially, I was gonna say especially boys, but like, and just I think it's positive for kids of any gender. I love breaking down the binary consciousness while also still talking about it because it still exists. Like, but I'm not trying to keep it up. I think that children, and adults and people of all ages should not be put into a box or like forced to define themselves based on these rigid compartments. What do you think about the queer community relying so much on labels and boxes to understand each other? I honestly felt like at a certain point as a dyke, I felt like I have more freedom as like in the straight community to just be myself, because I felt that the pressure of being femme in the queer community was like much worse than just like, it's like if I'm straight I could just be a regular bitch, and it's only I don't know, I think it's like part of the type of community that I was part of too, because different communities have different standards. Like, for some people, like, it's like nobody's supposed to look femme, everybody's supposed to look kind of butch. For the community that I was part of, it was very like strict on butch femme dynamics, and my girlfriend was like, she had always been a switch. She had used to dress kind of more tomboyish, but then as time went on, she started dressing more girly. I didn't care either way, but what I didn't like was how then she would try to act like I wasn't dressing feminine enough or being feminine enough, depending on how she wanted me to be. But in the end, it really just came down to control, and that's what we're seeking to dismantle here, is anything that seeks to assert control over other people. I feel like, when it comes to society dynamics, I feel like a lot of I just see so many of the different obstacles that people in our community have towards relationships, like people who specifically are queer sex workers of color. The list of reason, like possible relationship issues and things that we're struggling with when it comes to relationships, is endless just for us as individuals. And then there's just so many different scenarios with our other partners and people that we're engaging with that could come up. So at this time, what's most important is just kind of clearing the air on like who we are beyond all these boxes and labels and identifiers, and what we really want and truly desire. And so that's why, like, working with this muse of epic poetry, Calliope, has been so beautiful and beneficial, because I've been able to see where I stop myself from speaking, and how a lot of times it has to do with like femininity and feeling like, if I like, I'll be more quiet, that'll make me more feminine, or like, a feminine person should be more quiet. And then just like all the life experiences of times where at work or, in relationships or whatever, where I wasn't able to really say how I felt, or, I had to keep things quiet, or I just had to listen when I didn't want to, when I had things to say. Or going back to childhood, when I had so many things to say, but I didn't have really enough, like I didn't have like a listener. I didn't have a listener, or the right listener, like it was my dad. Like I would want him to hear me out and listen to me, but that wasn't like, you know, there was just like, like, I think that sometimes we just try to go back to the past to try to change it and think like it'll be better. And then we end up in dynamics trying to replay those situations, trying to make them better. But what actually makes them better is just like just doing the thing. Like somebody outside of you can't like I have to say what I'm going to say whether there's a listener or not. I have to be who I am and be who I want to be whether anybody's going to feel me or receive me or not. And this is what's really coming out from the depths of our soul. And we have like a high level of balancing and calibration between the masculine and feminine energies when we do that. Because we're using our masculine energy to say what we got to say and to live our truth and live our purpose. And that allows our feminine energy to like effortlessly rest in that. Do you consider yourself a woman of color? Yes, I'm Palestinian. And I'm mixed. I'm Palestinian and white. We have a Cancer in Narm, Melbourne, a Libra in DC. I think it's strange, especially on dating apps, how people categorize everything about themselves. I have like on my Tinder profile, I have every single. I'm like non-binary. Like I have every single. I have every single thing on there because any guys that hit me up, I want them to know like, hey, this is what you're dealing with. Hey, Soul Fam. Hey. I'm in an I hate men phase right now. It's really easy to get into those type of phases, especially when you work in the adult entertainment industry. Violence is high in lesbian relationships. Yes, it is because you are too like it's like especially like you guys are the same size, like it's like you will get to fighting if you take it there, and it's like really easy to take it there, especially when you're not mature, you don't have relationship skills. The high intensity, lots of passion, then the anger takes over, like, and I've had some crazy experiences. Y'all don't even want to get me started. Hey, love. Hey, we got an Aquarius in Milwaukee. Yep. Would Greek be of color? That's for you to decide. I think it just depends on your life experience. Scorpio in Milwaukee. What up, though? Hi. Love your work. Thank you. Yes. So we're talking about the topic is healing men. This is a Virgo new moon healing. And we're just getting some things clear in our auras and our energy fields. But I had this good conversation with the son of a friend of mine who was telling me about how he felt, about how people would just kind of, like, he just literally said straight up, like, that he felt like people were dismissive of struggles that boys and men go through. And he's right. So I feel strongly that my path of healing my masculine energy and then healing my relationship with men is to make it so that, like, okay, I was about to say something personal, but I just, I need to be somebody that, like, it's easy to, I don't know, it's just like, it's easy to have a lot of love for the children that I love. And then, have a much different feeling about others, like grown adults. But ultimately, like, we still have that little child inside of us. And it's pretty easy to tell when somebody's deeply motivated by the unmet needs of their inner child. We're trying to raise up the children now is where they don't have these problems, but a lot of grown adults now, like, have deep inner wounds of never feeling heard and never feeling seen. And I think that, that's something that sex workers like really can use to our advantage in working relationships, because ultimately people are paying for a service, and what they're a lot of what people want and what they need is to be seen. And I do think that there is a whole transition that occurs. Oh wow. What? Wow. This is so crazy that I pulled this card, and it really gives me it gives a whole new meaning to this card, because I'm using the Next World Oracle deck, and I used this deck a lot when I was first starting out, when I was doing readings in the French Quarter. I worked at a voodoo shop, and I used this deck all the time. And I had pretty much only used this deck. This was the deck that I learned on, so I didn't know traditional tarot. So this is the Five of Swords. So to put this together, knowing this image and this person and the concept, which is survival of the Five of Swords, and putting it together with the traditional tarot Five of Swords, which is basically somebody that's like walking off the battlefield with like carrying away five swords, and they've won the battle, but they got hurt in the process, and it wasn't really as satisfying as they thought it would, but they still made it out. This gives so much hope. Like, that's why I love this deck. And it's so cool to look back on your journey and see like how you've grown, and how what you've learned. Because gosh, that struggle for survival, like, it really does something to you. And if you've been out here in these battlegrounds, you know what I'm talking about. I see all those hearts. I know you know. So, we got a Saggy and ATL. Yay. So, this person represented here, their Instagram handle is Tourmaline. Definitely look her up. She's a filmmaker. And this says Venus in Aquarius. This is detachment. This is a love born out of survival, because we're loving people who have, like, we're loving people who we share generational wounds with. So I'm going to keep this general. This is a general reading. And if you guys want more, to go deeper with it, get the goddess healing, the remote healing for healing with Calliope. But this is a recalibration of long-standing gender dynamics between groups socialized as men and women. Wow. Y'all know I do energy work. If you are open to receive this energy, affirm to yourself, I am open to receive. This is some real good energy coming through. All right, zip. Zip, even if you want the rest of it, go to the link in the bio. Yeah. Y'all felt that? Shit, sometimes I barely make it out. Out of what? Hi, I liked and subscribed. What type of job my guides advised me to apply for? You're gonna have to ask them. You're gonna have to ask them. I have a Venus in Aquarius, yes. We're learning to detach. Okay, let's pull another card. Oh, I saw this card while I was shuffling, and I'm not surprised. Four of Cups, reevaluating your options. Again, because what I'm noticing is the dynamics that we've used to survive They're basically like, it's basically like the matrix is glitching. Like these dynamics are coming to the surface and we're getting the chance to reevaluate. So if you've seen one of the readings that I did like a few weeks ago, I was talking about revenge, and I've been working with this concept of revenge for a while. And the concept is really like we're getting revenge for patriarchy in the form of healthy relationships that support us mind, body, and soul. And so that's all of us. Like it doesn't matter what gender you are, you're getting revenge from patriarchy. And it's pretty exciting because like men are not our enemies in this fight. Like they're just not. They're impacted negatively by patriarchy. I know that it's going to be hard for a lot of people to understand that at this moment in time, but it just, I don't know, they're just not our enemies. I don't know. I know that I've done some deep healing, and again, if you guys want like, it's like if you guys want access to this healing, everything that I create is coming from this place. Look on our website, heavenonearthreiki.org, because I feel like a lot of people like show up for lives and like posts and stuff, but don't look at the website, and it has everything. Like everything is not going to be, if you want to go deeper, give yourself the room to do that. The revenge reading a couple weeks ago was on point. Yes, thank you, Palestinian Queen. MashaAllah, my Habibi. Hell yeah, revenge through healthy relationships. Yes, you guys, like, exactly, because it's like, this is the energy we're moving through. Like, no one is, like, okay, I'm not gonna say no one is actually our enemy, because some of us actually do have enemies. However, this is where we're developing our fighting style and our skill in fighting. So it's, there's such a thing as friendly fire, there's such a thing as relational aggression, there's such a thing as open enemies. And a lot of our real enemies, we will not get the chance to fight through anything more than just like embodying ourselves. And embodying yourself is the best way you can fight, and healing yourself and having a healthy relationships with your lover/lovers, partner/partners, friend/friends, family members, all of that, colleagues. The healthier you get in whatever you do in one area is going to help you in all the other areas. So if your work, and this is something that a lot of men need to hear right now, if your work flow is going bad, check on your relationships. Okay, what's going on with your relationships? You probably need to work on something there. Are you having trouble setting boundaries at work because you're having trouble setting boundaries at home? Are you having trouble getting what you want at work because you're not getting what you want at home? Ask yourself these questions. That's why they say a happy wife is a happy life, and it makes logical sense to invest in a partnership. That's why you guys see these clients that have plenty of money. They have a wife. They have a solid foundation. They have a home. They have somebody at home doing their laundry and cooking for them, and a warm body in bed that they can fuck on. That's how they maintain their abilities to make wealth and generate wealth, so much so that they can spend it on self-care with an escort or with a sex worker, with a stripper. Okay, so we gotta, we don't want to just absorb their we don't want to just like internalize their misogyny and all of that. We want to also like think smart about some of these things. Is like a lot of us in our community, I'm not just talking at y'all because I struggle with relationships a lot, so I know what I'm talking about. Like these things are hard, especially for us. Relationships are hard, period. And especially if you weren't trained into healthy relationships or taught healthy relationships, and all you saw was chaos. Like if all you saw was men beating women in your family and abusing women in your family, and then you become a sex worker and you have to constantly protect yourself from them, you are not alone in you might also have generations of ancestors behind you who also feared men and grew up being molested, beaten, and raped by men, but then also needing them to survive. So don't shy away from your impulses at this time, because there's a lot of like toxic tendencies, toxic ties, sexual desires that are seen as taboo, and they really need room to be expressed right now so that you can heal. But it's different than sexualizing your trauma, because a lot of us, what we have done is sexualize our trauma. So it hasn't been healing, it's been replicating it. And you might have not been aware of this at all, but once you become aware of it, you have to correct it, because it'll just hurt you. So we'll pull another card. The Six of Wands, victory. Period. Five of Swords, Four of Cups, Six of Wands. It's a very balanced reading, and we're sort of like in the middle ground. You see here, there's no major arcana cards. There's no like Fool, Empress, High Priestess here. These are 5, 6, and 4. These are in the middle. Five of Swords, that's smack in the middle. We're learning how to use our tools, learning how to use our discernment. And this reading, like, I'm speaking to everybody who's listening. It doesn't matter who you are or where you work or what you do or what gender you are. We're learning how to use our tools and utilize our position, and we can really see how we have been in the wrong. Like, don't be on the wrong side of history is what's coming through. Do right, do right by the people who have entrusted you with their energy. A lot of things that used to fly in the adult industry as far as scamming and stuff does not work anymore. It is a pure I'm like, this hurts to say this. It hurts to say, but it's like, on the one hand, okay, on the flip side, no, like, some people are really gonna be scamming and get scammed. Like, yes, on the flip side. But for us here in our bubble of reality, like, we're not really like, that might be the past experiences or whatever. We're not scamming, and like, it's an energy that comes back around. I don't necessarily believe in karma the way that other people believe in karma, but I believe that the energy, anything that is anything extra is not indicated here. Like, this is the Five of Swords. Like, this is like a clean break. It's like you made it out. You did the thing. You had the experience. Maybe you showed your ass, or maybe you were right. You argued a point and you were right, but it didn't feel better that you were right. It felt bad to be right. It just felt bad to be right. You made a clean break. Leave it in the past. Don't try your luck, is what the message is saying. Don't go back. Like, it's like you got away with 5 swords. Don't go back for the other swords. Just keep going. Girl, I know exactly what you're saying. Oh my God, yes, it totally comes back around. Yeah, because the reason why I don't believe in karma is because the people that do the most evil stuff have occult technology methods of making other people take on their karma. So it don't ever come back around to them. And that's why I said that there will be scamming at a high level. But here, our frequency, we're doing something different. Actually, what's mainly going to happen with our bubble of people is that more people are actually going to leave the industry and go into intimate relationships and have families. And this is beautiful. You deserve it. Like, you deserve to be happy. And that's why I'm saying this is the revenge. This is the revenge. people want to act like nobody wants to be with a hoe, or if you've been a sex worker, like nobody, that's just like a stain on you. No, it's not. Nobody cares. Like, no, literally nobody cares, and that's just an illusion. And that's internalized misogyny and brainwashing, because everybody needs to be having great sex right now. And so there's a lot of men and dykes and people of all genders who are going to really be happy with the partners that they're able to attract and be with, that are like leaving the adult industry. I always feel a little self-conscious about talking about people leaving the industry, and I don't know why, because that, like, literally, like, when you're in this industry for real, not just for Instagram play, all anybody ever talks about is leaving the industry and when they're gonna leave the industry. But then it's like, once you actually do leave the industry, or you try to, there's really no such thing as like leaving the industry. It's like, everybody knows that bitches backslide. But there's certain doorways that you are gonna walk through on your journey that there's no going back from. And it's personal. It's between you and you. It's between you and you. That's it. It's personal. Okay. Yes, this seems to be a popular thing right now, just dating ourselves. Let me see what was said. Thank you once again. I'm also healing at the moment, as I finally left my dom boyfriend for cheating multiple times and not feeling heard. I'm starting a relationship with myself now. That's right. Yes, that's right. That's what's needed. You gotta like, this is what's happening right now, because so many relationships have been based on survival, like whether we really knew it or not, or we're conscious of it or not. Often the unconscious motivations create the deepest bonds with others. And so there's deep inner needs. Like, what I'm seeing is that, like, for people who have been in abusive relationships or been with doms and been unable to advocate for themselves, this healing is perfect for that, actually. Like, it's just really interesting, because I'm actually being challenged. Like, I'm being challenged to, like, promote my products. And this is the product that I made for healing these wounds. And it's I'm at a new level in my growth as with what I'm doing, so it's like challenging for me to even get the words out. But this is the part of the healing, and this is a downloadable healing. If some of you guys know that I used to do the monthly group healings. Oh my god. But some of you guys know, like, I used to do these monthly group healings, but now I still do the monthly goddess healings, but they're remote. Like, you can download them and watch them anytime you want. You don't have to show up at a specific time. So they're everlasting. And this healing, I'm really excited about these changes. Everything is going so good. Like, for you guys that have been around for a while, you've seen me in my ups and downs. And I've struggled with depression since I was a little kid. I don't remember not having depression. So even when life is good, sometimes it's been really hard to enjoy it. But life has been consistently good enough, consistently enough, that it's given me like such a break. And I feel good, and I'm embracing my work, even though sometimes it's really hard as an Arab Muslim woman and, person as a sex worker, just to show up and talk about the things that I talk about, and then be as open with you guys as I am. Like, I go through a lot, and I do my own healing behind the scenes. And then every month I'm bringing you guys a download that you can share in that healing, because I'm opening up these pathways within myself. Like, I have these wounds within myself. I'm not just talking out of my ass. Like, I know what I'm talking about, because I'm addressing these things in myself, and I'm channeling from spirit, and it's hard to feel heard. It's hard to speak up for yourself. And then it's like, it becomes a vicious cycle where it's like, you know, this is what I was speaking on at the beginning of this live, was that backlog of words. It's like there's like layers and layers and layers upon layers of words in your throat chakra that haven't been spoken. They need to be cleared out. This is energy healing, you know. And I'm moving away from actually doing energy healing for people and opening up more like space for people to learn how to heal themselves. So that's where the focus that I'm going towards. I still have sessions that you guys can book with me one-on-one. But I really want people to have these skills for themselves. I know how beneficial it is for me to have the skills for myself. And I'm still working on my Reiki class. For those that have been asking about it, I'm not going to teach another one. It's going to be a download as well that you study on your own time. And then you'll have the opportunity to meet up with the Heaven on Earth community for regular practice sessions. Yeah, I'm studying a relationship with myself now. That's right. It's crazy. Okay, let's see what y'all saying. Some guys implied it was a stain even if I left. I don't think it's a stain. Right. I'm like, you are trying to convince me that being a bad bitch who gets money is bad? Boy, bye. It's crazy. My boyfriend said the same thing when I left him for cheating. You won't find a guy who will accept your past like I did. It's so manipulative. Do you guys understand how many like sexy, fine-ass, successful, wealthy men are happily married to career sex workers right now? When most people that I've ever seen leave the industry through marriage. It's rare, either through marriage or through getting wealthy from the industry. Yeah, I meant they say it's a sex work is a stain. Even if I left sex work, must be a personal hang up. I see what you're saying. That's the thing that I realized is that like it doesn't matter if you leave the industry or not. You're like, it's like I left the industry thinking that I'm gonna be, you know, somehow no, because if you don't fuck with you, people don't fuck with you, and if they're not happy with you, they're not gonna be happy with you. So nothing that you can, you know, they're not happy that you're doing sex work, but leaving sex work isn't gonna make them happy either. What's gonna make them happy like has nothing to do with you. It has literally nothing to do with you. So you just got to worry about yourself. There's a quote from a famous sex worker, but I can't think of who right now or exactly what the quote is, but the gist of the quote is like, leaving the industry was the worst thing that I ever did, because I thought that I was going to leave the industry and get respect, but everybody kept throwing my past in my face all the time, and I missed out on a whole bunch of money. So there's that. Yeah, so you guys, I don't even know. I do not even know. I've been seeing this come up a lot in conversations that I've seen sex workers having. Oh wow, you see how we have the Ace of Cups on the bottom of the deck, and I just flipped it upside down and put it right side up? Yeah. So this new relationships aren't indicated. Like, you know, it might be the same old relationship with a little refresher, but I'm really sensing new relationships. And that's another thing, is like polyamory is indicated highly for sex workers. But maybe some of the people that you date might not really be ready for those type of conversations. They might need to feel like they're the only one, even though they know they're not the only one. I don't know, but there's a lot of challenging conversations that are on the horizon for my people here. And the function and purpose of these conversations is to get clarity on what you seek in a partnership and what you can offer to a partnership. What you're willing to offer to a partnership. So it should be a non-negotiable that like you need to be accepted for who you are, and it should be a non-negotiable that your partner is absolutely fine and happy with being with you as a hoe, if that's what you're happy with. The challenging thing that comes in with a lot of this is like when if you're not happy with your work, it's really, it's obviously you're going to attract somebody that's going to throw it in your face. I'm just being honest, you guys. Yeah, I was working for DoorDash full time for a bit, and even a family member says when I told her I made good tips on DoorDash, she goes, "Mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, right. He orders out and tips big if you know." So she was basically accusing you of freestyling while doing DoorDash. And that's what this is exactly what I'm saying. It's like they already think that. Like they already think that if somebody wants to think that you're a bad person or that you're just some, like you're like beneath them because you're a sex worker, they're gonna think that when you leave the industry too. That's why you gotta just make yourself happy. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is like if it makes you happy to make the money, then make the money and spend on what you want to spend it on and protect your mental health and your peace while you're doing it. That's why I have resources for you guys that are free. The screening guide is free, and the screening guide, it lets you check in with your mental, emotional, and spiritual health before you go to work. And it lets you check in with your support system and know who's your support system. It gives you a chance to manifest really easily because you can say how much money you want to make and how you want to make it. And these resources work, I made this for you guys. There's also the free guide to healing adult industry sexual trauma. I'm sorry, did you ever find a guide to healing adult industry sexual trauma anywhere else but here? I didn't think so. I didn't think so. I'm just over here doing groundbreaking shit. No big deal. No big deal. I'm saying use it. It has tarot spreads to help you get to the root of your trauma. Like it has worksheets that you can journal out, journaling prompts and stuff. And just like a lot of information, background information about healing and trauma, what trauma even is. I don't want people to go through the type of things that we tend to go through. Like I don't think that anybody should have to go through any of this stuff. I actually I remember feeling jealous. I remember feeling jealous of you guys because I didn't have these fucking resources. Like I see, and this is also important. Like people try to act like jealousy is like this big bad boogeyman, like, and people get so freaked out about the evil eye. People don't even know what the evil eye is. It's not just jealousy. Like jealousy is an emotion. Like I said, polyamory is indicated here. You're gonna have to deal with your jealousy, and jealousy is just an emotion. You can look, a mother can feel jealous of their daughter, but then if she takes it to an extreme, that's damaging. But the more you can just acknowledge your feelings and feel them and let them pass through you, that's healthy. And that's what's indicated here. And that is a huge part of healing masculine energy and healing men. Just the fact that it's that's one reason why men go to strip clubs and go to sex workers, because they know that they're paying somebody that they can say they can say that they have a problem, and they can be like, it was a tough day at work. They might not feel like they can really complain to anybody else in their life. It's just like those little small things, because emotion is so repressed in everybody, especially men. And it's very healing, just to be heard, when I see parents comforting their children and letting their children cry and express themselves, that's healing to witness, because we're coming from a generation that don't cry. You were not, our generation was not to cry. We're not allowed to cry. And it was way worse before. It's like every generation, we want to get gentler and gentler until we have widespread gentleness that is just given to all children, and that they're free from having any violence around them. Because we see how that energy gets into our systems, and it replicates itself. And the more we can cleanse our energy and let that energy, let our natural energy just flow, and stay tuned into the truth of who we are and the core of our sensations, our sensitivity, and our emotions, then those energies can't take a hold of us. They're counting on taking a hold of us so that they can use us to hurt others. That's how the system operates. And that's why men are so at risk for being carriers of spiritual infection, because they're any group that's a dominant group or that's given some type of special privileges in society runs the risk of being used to funnel this energy through them to hurt other people. And it can be anybody. Like, it doesn't have to be a person that's considered a dominant, because these conversations, these conversations about men versus women and, this binary, there's a whole kaleidoscope, because these conversations take on a different tone. Every person's ethnic group has different concerns, and every person within that ethnic group has different concerns. Within the queer community, like, everybody has different concerns, and it's like we're all, all these things are overlapping, so there's really no simple answer. People want there to just be like a sound bite or equation, and we're not even in that moment right now. Like, we are in the reevaluating phase. We're reevaluating everything. So, like I was mentioning before, the concept of choice, it's really a cop-out to say that sexual orientation is not a choice and people can't help it because they're born that way. That's denying agency to people who actually decided, like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just not going to deal with this, and whatever their reasons are. People's reasons for dealing with what they deal with or who they deal with is very personal. Thank you, Queen. Yes, possessiveness is not love and vice versa, right? But there's a level of, there is a level of ownership that you have to take over a relationship if you want to be part of it, because you have to be able to be, part of determining where that relationship goes. And I think a lot of people who are in dom sub dynamics, it's like, there's you find this person and the chemistry is right where you feel like submitting to them and you feel submissive around them, so it keeps you from like putting them in check from the beginning when they have you fucked up, or really telling them like what you like or what you need or what you need to be happy, or even just setting a boundary with them, period, because it's like, what if I set this boundary with them and then they don't want to deal with me anymore? So we have those responsibilities like within ourselves, and I think it's totally natural to be sexually submissive in a society that like forces us into submission all the time, and then it's totally natural to be like sexually dominant in a society that forces you into submission all the time. And that's a place of healing that a lot of us can really work out some of our issues, but it has to be in a very loving, established dynamic. That's why marriage is indicated for a lot of you guys. I mean, we're not there yet. Like the Emperor, like I said, like the Empress is not here in this reading. The Empress is not here in this reading. Maybe, it may be here for some of us. So pull some of your own cards and see. But we're really in the reevaluation and self-love phase. We made it out unscathed, okay? We made it out. We didn't catch a charge. We didn't get seriously hurt. We made it through. We are smarter. We're wiser on the other side. Got a Virgo in Portland. I think there's karmic energy still present from people who have passed on to us now. Yes, because that's our ancestors, that's our families, and that's why things are generational issues, because they don't get dealt with and the generation that they happen in, so then they continue to replay amongst the next generations. And so it's like it might skip a generation, like, you know, you might, like, there might be like you know, a molester in the family, and you know, it skips a generation, but then in the next generation, you know, there's child molestation in the family again. And then, like, it's like that, like, there's all different types of things that can happen in families. Like, that molester could come back reincarnated as a child that is being victimized by one of his victims now. Like, there's so much that can happen, and it's so specific to people. So that's why, you know, like I recommend meditation and learning Reiki and just getting spiritually in tune so you can listen to those messages. Because that's another thing that's important to know. When you're getting into a relationship with somebody, you're not just getting into a relationship with them, you're getting into a relationship with their ancestors. You're agreeing to establish a bond with the generational wounds, not just the generational, like, not just the strengths, not just the greatness, but also the wounds. And people don't change. Like, so it's like, you know, you got to think about what you can deal with. It's not like, it's like a lot of times people meet a new person, especially in real codependent relationship dynamics, and this can be like, you know, if this is a Captain Save a Hoe type of person, or, you know, anybody that wants to say, you know, anybody that wants to try to come into somebody's life and be the hero. Yes, why wouldn't you want to be the hero? But for a lot of people, this is a short-term ego game. And once they see that the person is not going to change, they leave, because their whole MO was to, like, get some type of validation from their impact on the person. But a true impact that you have on a person is like, it's lifelong, and it's not a quick validation ego game. You know, there's things that people struggle with that they might be lifelong struggles. So, you know, for example, like a sugar daddy, you know, wants to come into a person's life and, you know, drop some money on them and change their life. And then that person just blows all the money, and then they're right back to square one of, like, needing more money. And the sugar daddy is like, why didn't you invest it? Because this person has struggled with money all their life, and they don't have the same skills that you, Daddy Warbucks, have, you know. So are you gonna cancel that person and stop loving them? You know, like, they're still struggling with that. They need time, you know. Like, it's like, you know, it's like with addiction. Like, it's like anything that you're healing from, it takes way longer than you think to recover from it and to heal from it. People think it's supposed to be over, it's supposed to be quick. No, it takes time. And that's why, like, you know, when we feel like we're supposed to change ourselves for somebody else, as far as like, oh, I should leave the industry to please others, or so that I can be a better wife or better marriage material, that never works, because that's not how love can't be earned. Love can only be freely given, and it has to be given for who you are. It can't be given to who you're not. I just think it's so funny that somebody came into YouTube and said, and left a comment saying that they liked and subscribed, and then asked me to do a free reading for them. Like, I don't get paid in likes and subscribes, you guys. I get paid cash. And then, like, my Cash App is Sacred Stripper. My Venmo is Sacred Stripper. Yes. Because it just made me think of, and first of all, I doubt he even did that. I'm about to check my email. Like, did you even really subscribe? Or was that a lie? that the lying is a whole another area of healing, and that's also something, like everything that I'm talking about in this live, if you guys like this live and you want more, you'll want the monthly goddess healing for healing the muse, healing the inner muse with Calliope, the muse of eloquence and epic poetry. I'm going to take a night on that note, because I feel like I've said everything that I want to say. There's just so much more to say on this topic. We could keep talking for hours, but we've already been on here for an hour and a half, and I don't even know anything. If there's anything that you guys want to say before we get off, go ahead and say it now. Oh, hi. Hey, you guys. I didn't even know you guys were there. But yeah, like, okay, I'm not gonna leave now. Now that I've seen who's on here, I'll stay and keep talking to you guys. Wait. Wait. Okay. No, I think that we're fine. I think we're fine. I think we said all that there was to say. I'm like, no, I don't want to leave you. I love you. I love you. We need to be so happy right now. Like, we're not gonna, any parts of us that feels like we're not good enough, we don't need outside love. We just need to love those parts of us. Like, we just need to love those parts of us. That's it. We don't need outside love. I've been noticing, like, my different, where I need connection, and like where sometimes, like, I'll fantasize or I'll daydream instead of actually taking action to make those things a reality in my life, because I'm scared. But when I look at what's behind the fantasies and the daydreams, it's the desire for connection. It's the desire for love and for community and for conversation. It's mainly just the desire just to feel like myself. That's the thing, is like what's really emanating from inside of me is just like wanting to feel like myself and wanting to share that with other people that who I know can appreciate and hold me and reciprocate. And I know, like, so many of us have struggled with feeling depleted, or like we didn't get what we needed, or like we wanted out of a relationship. And, it's hard to find the balance between being too submissive versus being too aggressive. But I would much rather err on the side of too aggressive and make sure that I'm protected and that I feel secure, versus being submissive to the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time and getting hurt. And I was remembering how my body stiffened up when I was on the street. I was beginning to tell you guys this earlier in the live, but I switched topics. But I was walking down the street, and I seen a man approach me, and immediately I felt scared. Like, what's he gonna say to me? What's he gonna do to me? But then I noticed myself feeling scared. And so I said, okay, why am I scared right now? I'm on the street in broad daylight. I have first of all, you should never have a reason to be scared, no matter where you are, no matter what time of day or night it is, or who you are. Like, you should never, but our bodies respond automatically. So that let me know that my body immediately perceived this man as a threat. And he probably was a threat, but he didn't do anything to hurt me in that moment. But what I noticed was that I had a lot of control over the moment. That's what really stuck out to me, was that, like, I'm not a victim, I'm strong. And if he tries to cross my boundary in any way, I have plenty of recourse to protect myself. I'm here on the street, on my street, in broad daylight, and, a lot would have to happen in between right now, like from now, for him to hurt me. So it gave me time to work with that energy rising up in me. And it gave me also the opportunity not to project my fear onto him. Because I feel like a lot of times when we project our fear onto people, they absorb it. And this is not no victim blaming type of shit. This is strictly like how to heal and protect sex workers survivors 101, like strictly. Because whatever types of methods that we must use to maintain bodily autonomy, being real with ourselves and also like taking agency, like claiming our agency and claiming our responsibility as co-creators is a must, and it's huge. Because in that moment I felt very strongly like if I go along with this feeling of feelings that are end in this moment, I'm claiming victimhood. I'm saying I'm a victim and I don't have power. I don't like this feeling. I don't want to feel scared right now. I want to feel empowered. And it led to a whole thing. Like it's a whole inner child healing of like, when's the first time that you felt scared? Or that, you know, that a man approached you on the street, or that you saw a man on the street and you felt scared. Because you've been having men try to get you to go in their cars since age 12, you know, and you know, like this is a gender that has been molesting you for a long time. But like women that are molesters never get held accountable. It's so rare, and it's so common it's so common for them to do, and it's so rare for them to get held accountable. Even more rare than men who are molesters. So there's a lot of the whole, like, there's a lot of pain in the whole I hate men discourse. Like, I mean, it's like, I always feel like it's like, you know, people need to be able to take a joke to some extent, you know, but then at the same time, too, I'm like looking for what's underneath there, you know. Self-love is the key. Love you too. I feel like both of my exes were molested by a woman and can't talk about it. Yeah, like, you know, when you know, you know. And it can be very obvious. Nobody has to ever tell me nothing. Like, it's like, and people don't ever think that I pick up on shit either. But I notice everything, you know, and you can notice these things. Like, if you're intuitive and sensitive, you can notice these things. And then there's also some medicine in there for you too. Because we're constantly healing the whole world through all of our interactions and all of our sensations, you know. Yep, I remember having sex with a guy, and I distinctly like felt his trauma of being molested by his mom. Yeah. And you know, that's part of being a healer. I remember having sex with my ex and feeling her grandmother like in the room with us, like watching us and talking to us. It was so weird. But ancestors are not in their, like, they're not in a body, like they're not looking at sex like the same as we are. Ancestors will, like, you gotta like set boundaries with your ancestors to keep them away from the sex. Honestly, it's funny. We have a perfectly lovely reading here. And again, if you guys want to go further and deeper, do the Calliope Muse reading. She's been working on me because, you know, it's like really, really important to let yourself talk your shit and open up your throat chakra and let these words come through. A lot of us stop ourselves short, or we feel like we shouldn't take up too much space, or we shouldn't say too much, or, you know, whatever. And that's such a lie. You need to talk as much as you need to talk. Everybody's not an extrovert. But being an introvert doesn't mean like necessarily mean being quiet either. It's got to be a balance. It's got to be what works for you. It's your life. I always come in when it's juicy. You know it. Hi, healers. Hi, cutie. Yeah, sometimes when you have sex with someone more than once, there's trauma and pain attached. There's trauma. Okay, you're saying when you have sex with somebody more than once, there's trauma and pain attaches to you. I can't wait to bring the Reiki class back because you will love it and it will be so good for you. Because anybody else that struggles with that, like, that's what you need. This is why I specialize in teaching Reiki to sex workers and survivors, because we're the ones that are most likely to take on spiritual attachments, because men are actually the ones most likely to take on spiritual attachments, but they're less likely to cleanse themselves of those attachments. Because even with highly spiritual men, a lot of the attachments that are most deeply rooted with them, they're benefiting from the most, are those attachments that are child molesters and sexual abusers. And that's why you see in so many cults and things like that, what they typically go under for when they get slammed by the law, they typically are going under for child sex trafficking and child molestation, because the entities that are helping them to raise to that high level in their spirituality and their religion are often entities that also feed on the energy of childhood sexual abuse. What happened over here? I must have said okay, I feel like see, I cannot censor myself. Like, I gotta talk about what I gotta talk about and say it plain. And so whenever I say certain words, I know it triggers certain things. But eventually we're really gonna have to start speaking in code. I gotta practice. Cause yeah, that's what, anyways, join the Heaven on Earth app. That's all I'm gonna say about that for now. Yeah, so we can talk freely on our app. We don't have to be censored. But again, it is what it is. Yeah, I've seen in my own family, growing up, it didn't matter what gender you are, you can still get molested. And it's very unfortunate the way that the women's rights movement or whatever leaves men out, which is by design, because it's not really women's rights or humans' rights. It's the white capitalist feminist agenda, and white feminism is capitalism. It's a marketing scheme. Like I said before, Gloria Steinem was a CIA op. That lady was a CIA op. People have been placed in prominent positions to mass market this agenda to people and make it look attractive. And it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Oh gosh, you guys. But I'm just now thinking about this guy that came on my live a few times ago, and as soon as he came in the room, his energy was just super intense. I could feel him trying to hook onto me and hook into me. And this is what sex workers are dealing with 24/7. People intense people trying to hook onto you. See, okay, because a lot of clients, they don't, they might just be regular guys. They just work in an office or whatever. They're just regular guys. Then there's some clients, they're mentalists. So they might be a scam artist or some type of criminal or a high level executive or whatever, but they're mentalists and they use mental magic to control and dominate other people. They use neuro-linguistic programming when they speak. Like, they know certain, and they might even know certain trigger words. Like, depending on what type of clearance they have, like, they might know shit. Okay, so like our mental real estate and our spiritual real estate is way more valuable than our physical real estate of what we're working with physically. So there's that. Yes, I would love to do the Reiki class. Yes, you're gonna love it. Like, what I'm working on is basically just a class that you can download, and I'm gonna wait to tell you guys about it, but it's basically very groundbreaking. Like, there's never been a Reiki class like this before, because it's a self initiation. So you initiate yourself, but I teach you how. I teach you how. I guide you through how to do it. And then I also teach you how to initiate others. If they want you to initiate them and you want to initiate them, then you initiate others. But your initiation is a self-initiation. This is what we need. Like, in our community, it's extremely hard for most people in our community to like put their healing in the hands of another person for so many reasons. And we just have so many trust issues and walls and things. And then, you do need to be very discerning about who you let in your aura and who you let do spiritual work on you. And there is like a energetic connection that gets established there, and it's sensitive. And it's beneficial to have that connection with people that you live with and that you work closely with, that are in your family, because then you guys are more tapped in intuitively, and you can easily telepathically communicate with one another. This is going to be very necessary as things progress. When cops and the government have the ability to shut our phones off at will or shut our electricity off at will, we need to be able to rely on telepathic communication to connect us with those that matter most. I gotta go read some science fiction after this and get some wisdom. Yes, download it. Download it. Do what you gotta do, baby. Download it. I'm hoping that people will understand that the way that this, like, okay, like, I've been trying to get people to understand how these remote energy healings work, and it was really hard for people to understand. They kept wanting to have a live session, so I did the live session, but it just really, like, doesn't work for me to do it that way, because what I'm actually doing, first of all, like, it's just annoying. I don't want to have to cater to like the needs of people that, like, I'm sorry, I love you guys. I love you guys, but it's like, I don't know, I just need to be better at explaining it, I guess. Explaining what's going on. Because it's not like it's not happening live. It's happening over a period of time. And there's a reservoir of healing energy that is created through this healing work that is like continuously flowing. And that's what you're accessing when you're accessing the remote healing. It also has a reading that goes along with it to guide you in and out of it. And then you pause the video, set your timer for 30 minutes or however long you want to take to receive that energy, and then it flows into you and you receive it. So that's the way that I did it this time. I wanted it to be where, like, I would, there was like soft music playing or something for 30 minutes. But I could not do that in my technology constraints. Like, I just like I had something to prove and I got this done, and it works very well. Like, the way that it works, probably next month I'll probably do something like with the music so that you don't have to pause it and do the timer yourself. But trust me, you guys, this is really a huge turning point for me, because I know that I'm not the only one that struggles with imposter syndrome, but I loved that Bunny Michaels meme that was like, are you really struggling with imposter syndrome, or did you just grow up in a society that only values people that conform to the status quo? Because what I do is so supernatural and it's not about the status quo at all. And every time anybody always tries to tell me like this is what you should do for your business or this is better business tactics and stuff, there's always things that just doesn't work for me. And I'm just honestly looking at that person like, you really don't know what's best for my business. And actually a lot of times people try to like when people okay, I'm just gonna be honest, like the main people that were like really, especially the main one person. Sorry if you see this, don't feel called out or nothing because I'm honestly not calling you out, but a lot of times people question my methods when they're not ready to receive them. And that might sound like a spiritual bypassing gaslighting type of thing, but I'm dead ass because like it's like I had this person that was like, I didn't mean to buy this. Can I get a refund? And I'm like, no, there's no refunds. You need like you bought the healing for a reason because there's literally energetic parameters put on it to where you can't even you can if it's not going to work for you, you can't even buy it. Because I don't need no problems like that. Like I don't need those issues. Like I know everyone that comes through my payment processor, like you got what you came for. So then the person was like, I don't understand what it is. Well, I thought it was a class. So I thought, what is it? And and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do a class. I'll do a live Zoom thing for you guys. And then the person didn't even show up and they never watched it because they were just really resisting the healing because I was literally saying like you literally don't have to do anything. You just receive. Even if you don't watch the live, even if you don't do the meditation, you just set the intention to receive and you receive the energy. But you must pay for it because that's an energy exchange because this shit ain't free. I spent days working on this. So no, this shit ain't free and there's strict energetic boundaries and parameters set up. Because if I'm out here giving my essence away and giving the energy that I worked to receive away, what do I have? This is my job and this is my livelihood. And a lot of people don't really understand that, and I can't entertain people. Like I had a friend try to call me up and complain to me about some boundaries that another healer had set with her. And I'm like, so you want me to be mad that this healer set boundaries with you? We're healers. We're both spiritual healing professionals. I'm not going to entertain this conversation. No. You got to set your boundaries. Yes. And demand your payment. Because if you're out here just leaking energy, guess what? You're not just leaking energy out into the ethers. Someone somewhere is slurping it up, using it, utilizing it, and gaining from your energy. And a lot of them are your exes and people that you've had prior sexual relationships with because you unknowingly kept that cord open. And you can tell when these people can continuously come back in and out of your life. No. No. You know what? I struggle with setting boundaries. So I've been there. Nobody should be able to come in and out of your life. It's the difference between somebody that you have love for and you guys go your separate ways and you check in every so often whenever, maybe years later or months later or whatever. But that's very different from a person who you had a falling out with or argument with, and then they just try to pop up and act like everything's okay, or like I'm sorry or whatever, you got to talk those things out and address them. And a lot of us don't even know how to do that because we're so used to keeping the peace with people we love. So we'll let people make the same, we'll let people hurt us in the same exact ways over and over and keep forgiving them for the same things when really they're not our parents, they're not our family members, they're people out here in the world and we don't owe them anything and we don't need them in our lives. Like adult relationships are not unconditional. Ooh, we got we got one of the majors. Okay, I just kept pulling cards, so we gotta tell me why I said that. And Chariot, she just jumped right into my hand. Tell me why the Chariot popped out when I said adult relationships are not unconditional. It's a lot of it's so I gotta repost my pyramid of like financial healing for sex workers because there's a lot of sex workers out there that are treating grown ass people as dependents. Sis, you guys don't. That's so funny. You guys don't ever hear me say that. I'm like, sis. Oh, baby girl. Yeah, so no, he is grown. He is not your child. Cut the cord. Cut the umbilical cord. No. And this is something you got to look at in yourself. Why the need for control? Because you're paying his way. You are wanting to control him. Even if he's abusing you, there's still some control dynamics there that you're participating in. You have to be willing to be on your own completely and not have a fantasy or a facade or someone you're leaking energy to. What I learned in my Reiki healing journey is that a lot of people are actually addicted to like giving their energy away. It's an addiction. It feels good. That's the root of codependency, is an addiction to giving your energy away and giving your essence away. And you got to continuously be redirecting that energy back into yourself. Like think about it as a cord. Like think about it as literally like a tube sticking out of your womb, and then and it's like just sticking out, and it's like just like the energy is just like blowing everywhere, and you take that tube that's sticking out of your womb and you pull it back and you put it back into your solar plexus. Do y'all feel that? And you fill yourself up. And immediately you have the restoration of so much power and energy. I don't know why I just want to do that. There's another one. I just wanted you guys to see my chair by itself. I love my chair. I love my room. I love my life. So things are going to speed up. And then talk about on the other side of the deck, there's the Hermit. See? This is okay. So at the beginning of the reading, I was saying like we're halfway there. You know, we're still in this journey where the numbers are 5, 6, and 4. 5 of Swords, 6 of Wands, 4 of Cups. But then we get to the end of the reading and we have the Chariot and the Hermit. These seem like they're conflicting energies because the Chariot is moving fast and the Hermit is like seems to be like, you know, staying still. But actually, we're like rapidly going within. This is the journey. Like we're rapidly going within, and we find our ideal lovers and soulmates and friends and collaborators within. So we may have been coming from a phase where we were getting to ourselves through other people, and we actually needed to go through those other people to get to ourselves because we literally couldn't do it by ourselves. This is the nature of codependency and how it's affected women, and that's why like this conversation topic is healing men, like because like this is healing, like this is healing for all of us. So this is healing for all of us. Like, wait, I'm so addicted to being needed. Call out to me too. I have Cancer in the 7th house because this Cancer just let someone do that. Checking myself out. Oh, wait. What do y'all say? They'll thank you in a few years. Exactly. They don't understand it. Exactly. I said hard boundaries. Sometimes I feel I should be softer. I don't want to hold on to resentment. Because this Cancer just let someone do that. Checking myself right now. Call out to me too. I have Cancer in the 7th house. I'm so addicted to being needed. Yeah. But the thing is that being needed is a survival response. And like caregiving is a survival tactic. Like we are coming from generations and generations of women and people before us who literally stayed alive just to save and support and feed others. So knowing that that is a survival response, we're responding to something natural. When we need to be needed, we're responding to something natural inside of ourselves. And a healthy man or a healthy lesbian, or comp like what the fuck is the word? Counterparts, like a healthy counterparts, they know that, like, that's the need to be needed by the person that needs you too. Stop playing. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. And if you are feeling like you're fighting with someone for them to see you as who they need, then, like, you need you, baby. You need you. You can't prove that. Like, you cannot prove to someone that they need you. They either need you or they don't. You're important to them or you don't. And at the end of the day, we got to understand the too, that nobody really needs us unless they're really like our dependents. Nobody really needs us. So that feeling of that need to be needed at the end of the day, like, that person doesn't actually need you. So whatever urgency or over giving, or depleting yourself, you're doing that to yourself. But you're just making them the reason. And a lot of creatives and artists, that are femme socialized or socialized as women, do that because it's a lot easier to support somebody else's dream than to, like, lean into the messiness and the ugliness and the uncertainty and the bridges you'll have to burn to be able to live your own life and say what the fuck you feel. Do you guys understand that I literally, like, I'm not even gonna go there. Like, I'm not gonna keep rehashing the past because my life is amazing and I love my life. I love how I live, and I fought for this. I love the people in my life. I love the things that are around me, like, and the people that are around me. Like, I love my clothes, I love my hair. I fought for this, and I struggle every day. Like, I'm telling you guys, but I'm not claiming that struggle. Like, I know I fight the good fight. I'm here with you. I know you're doing it too. We're here, and we're doing it. And so that's why it's so important, like, to first attach securely to yourself and attach securely to your friends and family and your colleagues, like those relationships that they're not going nowhere. Like, I was going through this thing where I was, like, trying so hard to attach to this guy. He didn't want me to attach to him, and realistically, like, he didn't have, like, it's like, what attaching to him would not benefit me at all. Why was I doing that? I was being ruled by this deeper need within myself. So instead of attaching to him, I just attached deeper to myself, and I attached deeper to the people that I know, like the long-standing people in my life. And I've made myself feel secure. Like, it's like a lot of times we think that we need a guy or we need, some bitch. Sorry, you guys. I don't know why I talk like this. But we feel like we need these things in our lives to make us feel secure and stable, and we don't. And it's really completely the needs of our wounded inner child. The unmet needs of our wounded inner child. If the unmet needs of my wounded inner child was a person, that would be the person seeking connection and validation from someone who is not willing or able to give it. And guess what? Nobody out there is going to be able to show her the compassion that she needs but me. Nobody out there in the world can meet the unmet needs of my wounded inner child but me. Because what she needs is the embodiment and the physical freedom to be me. It's way deeper than, coloring in a coloring book or buying myself an American Girl doll. Like, it's way different than, like, giving her something tangible that she wanted that she didn't have. It is in the moment incorporating her into me so that we both get what we want. And then checking, what are my unmet needs? I shouldn't have any unmet needs. And that's why like this crowdfunding experience was really special, because I didn't feel any, like, I felt a little bit of the fleeting like concerns of like making myself vulnerable and asking for help and stuff. But I've done it so many times, and then like I felt concern over like, I don't know, like it's like the reason why people don't ask for help is like it's like in our industry especially, but regardless, like it's like in our industry people feel like you bitch, you should have a sugar daddy helping you, um or you should have a man helping you in some type of way. um and regardless of that, it's like that's an attitude, is like you should not ask for help publicly. Somebody who knows you in private is supposed to be providing that help to you. But like I said in my post, like what the fuck? What reason could I possibly have to share so much of myself with y'all and give you so much like quality content and not ask you for help when I need it, and not tell you like what the fuck is up with me? That creates such a split, and that contributes to split personality that I don't want to deal with anymore. Like I've been doing this 40 days and 40 nights spiritual detox challenge. I'm on day 31 now, you guys. It's day 31 of 40. So next week the challenge will be over. And my whole MO with this challenge was to break down the walls inside of myself and to integrate and unite all the parts of myself. And this is part of healing between any polarities, including the polarity of masculine, feminine, or man and woman. So it was a really good experience. And it's a really different vibe for me from last summer, where I was very much depleting myself. I was doing a lot of Reiki initiations, and I was doing one-on-one healing sessions. The healing sessions that I was doing was very deep. The same sessions that I was doing then, I now charge $697 for. And at the time, it was $197 or $297 to do that. And I initiated a lot of people, and I'm glad I did it. It was a good experience for me to get that experience. I like to push myself and to push myself to extremes, especially when it comes to to my spiritual work and my energy work. And I learned a lot. And I learned how to take care of myself, because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't spending time on self-care. The time that I was spending when I wasn't working was like engulfed in negative thoughts and self-hate and just a lot of trauma. And I went through these things so that I could have the medicine for my work. It's not just for you guys, it's for me too. Everything that I do is for me first. And the reason why I share it with you is because it's for us. It's not just for me. Everybody's healing path is different. Like some people's healing is private. It's just for them. It's not for them to get up and tell people about it or teach people about it. But for some of us, that is our path. And that's what I teach. I'm on the teaching path and the healing path and the Reiki mother path. And for me, the more that I can just kind of like immortalize my words and let them be out there, that's the best thing for me. I'm going into a phase of my life where like I'm gonna be satisfying most of my need for social interaction through our live streams together. Like I can't really be out here in the mix, you guys. Like I need to go out in the mix every so often just to keep myself like grounded and remember how things are. But like my vibration keeps getting higher and higher. Like it's like I don't know. It's like a lot. It's a lot. It's for you first, not you only. Exactly. Alhamdulillah. I love you so much. The way you express yourself, it's healing just listening to you. Love you too. I'm happy. Sex workers do that too much for a few different reasons. Wonder what that was about. You're so fucking articulate. Always talk your shit. Thank you. I feel so happy. I feel like when I'm with you guys, I'm like with like I feel like I'm like with the smart girl clique, like I'm like we're just like too cool. Like, oh my god. It's like I feel so happy right now, you guys, because like all my different incarnations of my inner child, I brought them out earlier today when I was doing my self-love ritual. I brought out all my like incarnations, like basically all my incarnations of my sexual self from all ages. And that's like, and so I brought them here. So I've got like my teenage self with me and my like, elementary school self with me. But that is something that like really sparked this, like a lot of the things I've been thinking about today was on the page Hathor's Temple. She posted about how a lot of she posted a meme that was saying that a lot of women, because of their issues with men from trauma, when they have sons, they suppress their son's sexuality. They try to suppress, repress, control it, and they don't really create like an environment where he can grow into his sexual self as a man. So I knew exactly what she was talking about, and I felt that on the flip side, like as a teenager growing up as a girl, with my mom, like she did the same thing to me. So as a Reiki mother, like, and as an elder in our community, I get the opportunity to give mothering energy to people. A lot of times people also approach me with mother wounds, and like men and people of all genders approach me with mother wounds, and I'm reaching a new level of sensitivity that I have not had before, because the reason why I'm able to have that sensitivity is because I've been taking really good care of myself, because I got so burned out last summer when I was like doing so much Reiki mothering, and I didn't even call it Reiki mothering yet. Like this whole thing is unfolding. Like, it's just so magical how it continually unfolds and it grows. And like the language, when I start talking, the language isn't there, and I keep talking and I find the language. Because even though I'm gifted with the gift of gab, it's still a struggle and a challenge for me too. And that's what makes it so exciting. Yeah, we can't take care of a dude and cut his allowance when he don't behave and take his Nintendo when he calls you a name. He's gonna have to act right on his own. Like, and that's not satisfying. Like, that doesn't make for, like, I'm sorry, but no. Nobody is getting wet or getting hard in that environment. Like, no, but it's like when you love somebody, you're gonna be their mother, their father, their sister, their brother, their auntie, their friend, their cousin, their homeboy at times, and that's satisfying. That sounds like a satisfying relationship to me. But it's a fine balance that must be maintained. And when it comes to abandonment issues and the things that we do to push people away or pull them closer, we got to check ourselves and look at, like, what are the exploitative dynamics that I've been indoctrinated into. I'm sorry, you thought you was gonna survive an abusive childhood and abusive relationships and get out and not having none of that experience with you? Well, actually, what the Five of Swords is telling us in this reading is that we got out scot-free. But when we keep ruminating, oh my God, when we keep ruminating, then we're not free. We're closing ourselves into that bondage of that experience. We're binding that experience to us. So it's a lot of crown chakra, third eye chakra, throat chakra, clearing, upper chakra clearing so that the heart can be clear and the heart can be free and light. Now I see. Yeah. Yes. 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 And people are not even speaking the same language at this time. Like there's a lot, you just gotta say what you gotta say and know that certain people are gonna hear different things from it. And you know, the whole reason why there's a saying "don't shoot the messenger" is because people always want to shoot the messenger. They always want to attack the messenger instead of looking at the message. Like, what are they actually saying? Like, you know, especially when people can't argue with the message, then they want to attack the messenger. You guys keep me grounded for real because you remind me who I like. I was gonna say you remind me who I do this for, but like, yes, you really do because you make a space for me. Like, I do this for us, and when you, a lot of times people create things when they're creating things like from that energy of codependency. Like, it's like, okay, like how do I put this? Like, don't create something that is inclusive to everybody but yourself. Trying so hard to be inclusive to everybody and you done left yourself out. What? No, baby, you're the center. You're the center. You're the most important person there. If it's not inclusive for you, it's not inclusive for anybody. And that's where this is the victory that's indicated here with the Six of Wands, is like that we're knowing that there's nothing for us without us. And for us to have to sacrifice ourselves for someone else's gain, that's actually karmically incorrect. And that person is not gaining, they're losing, and we're losing too. It's a lose-lose situation. So we want to set ourselves up for more win-win situations, and that's why we're reevaluating with the Four of Cups. You know, we're giving ourselves a stable foundation, just doing some self-care. Nothing to see here. We're doing some self-reflection and some reevaluation. Because the old ways was not working. It doesn't mean throw away the person unless it really was time to get it, you know, throw them away and get a new person. And it's also like, yeah, we're loving ourselves, we're dating ourselves, we're like focusing on ourselves, but we're not sitting here ruminating in all these old emotions. Like, who's next up on the roster? Who's next up on the roster? Let's give them their turn, you know? But some of y'all have some people who've been patiently waiting for a turn to talk to you. And, you know, I don't know, it might be time to let them. It might be time to let them, you know? Give yourself a new vibe. Give yourself something new. Just some new vibes. Again, polyamory is indicated, so it doesn't mean throw away the old bae. Just because, you know, you need to learn some new skills, and you can't always learn those skills with the same person. That's why, like, it's like for on the side of men and male culture, they have strip clubs to go to, they have escorts to go to for their, you know, for them to explore, like get new skills, social skills with women, and, you know, partnership skills. They have avenues. But when it comes to women, we have our friend, like what, and I use these terms very loosely, so you guys please bear with me, but we're trying to like kind of dismantle the gender binary while also healing masculine and feminine energies within ourselves and the collective. So no big deal. No big deal. Reiki Ma, I just got it. I love that. I love that. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, because, you know, you people get so caught up on the people not supporting them, like, you know, my friends didn't repost it or blah, blah, blah. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't have nothing to do with anybody else but you. Okay. Oh my God, we've been going live for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I love it here. I love it here. I love it here. But I was saying, like, you guys keep me grounded because everyone on the internet wants to talk about race in such a way that just like sucks all the joy out of living. And like I was saying at the beginning of this video, people like it did take a toll on me. Like things that people said about me, about my race and ethnicity, it's like you kind of striking at the core of my identity when you go there. But like I said, like in my video about like how sex workers of color, content creators are a gift to us all, like it's like you just got to keep showing up, you know. You can't let them stop you because it is hard for us because of these multiple things, you know, and there's just so many things that make it challenging for us. And then I just kind of find it funny that people want to attack my like existence. It's like you can't, like, I don't even know. Like I don't want to be in spaces where I have to defend my existence. And it doesn't matter to me if it's white supremacists or POC haters. Like it's like either way, you guys are making me defend my existence, and I don't want to do that. And I shouldn't have to. So, you know, I'm not, rather than like, you know, letting that stop me or focusing on that, I'm able to bask in the reality that I have like a community of people who has consistently been showing up for 4 years. Like we've been here for 4 years doing this, starting with Sacred Stripper, you know, and this is this community is multi-ethnic on purpose. And I love that for us. And I love that for us, you know. And I mean, every good thing that's coming to us, we deserve it so fully. And for a lot of us, this is going to be relationships. And so, you know, I was saying that like, while men and people socialized as men have the outlet of sex workers as people that they can go to enhance their relationship skills, we have our friends, and that's who are supposed to enhance our relationship skills. But relating with our friends can be very different than relating with a partner, you know. However, it really shouldn't be like, I mean, it really should, like, it depends on what you want and what you like, but you know, it really like, it's like we want to have the type of partnerships where we feel like this is our friend and they really care about us and they really love us, you know. And I think that's what most people want. Like it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter if you're a sex worker, it doesn't matter if you're a femme, it doesn't matter if you're a man, a client. Like it's like knowing that someone can really care for you, that means a lot, you know. And then feeling that care and feeling it reciprocated. And when we've come from histories of like always subjugating ourselves by default, it can be really challenging for us to like get into that vibration because our DNA and our whole, like the whole matrix that is controlling our energy body is like, it's basically already got us in this predetermined path with predetermined neural responses, and nervous system responses. So it's an everyday thing that we can't continuously choose ourselves. But we're assured victory. The Six of Wands, and it says on the pillows that she's sitting on, it says decolonization and rebirth. And that's Jupiter and Leo, and that means the expansion of our natural healthy ego, our healthy ego selves. Because everybody wants to vilify the ego. The ego, what I think usually when people are talking about the ego and vilifying it, they're really talking about the reptilian brain. They're really talking about the reptilian brain, the survival brain. But the ego often, it's that voice, it's like trying to stop you, but then there's a healthy side to it that's like it a lot of times I think when the ego is talking to you and it's trying to stop you, it's because you're not ready yet. And that this is Virgo season, and this Virgo energy is really good for getting ready, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, filing the paperwork, getting the contract signed, and knowing that you are ready. So before we go into Libra season, where partnership and marriage and pregnancy, is a very highly indicated for our community. We're gonna have some Reiki babies. We're gonna have some Reiki babies and some heaven on earth babies, and we're gonna see people in our community getting married and being really happy about it. So I love that for us. And like I said, polyamory is indicated. Like you don't have to change your life for this love too much. But what you'll find is that the doorway is narrow, the path is narrow, and everything can't come with you. So we're really cherishing this time while you have it. There's going to be a lot of alone time for us. The Hermit, the Chariot, we're rapidly going within. We have the opportunity to really get into that, take our shovel and dig for jewels, and get into that I want to say silt or charcoal. It's this just it's this creative matter inside of us that's we can really sift through it and make something with it. What y'all talking about? I'm still listening. Babe, we love you so much. I'm sorry you had to endure so much and so much recently. Oh my God, thank you. We aren't black or white. We are all so mixed, and race cannot even categorize the ancient blood we have. Thank you. Oh my God. That is so healing. It is so healing to hear you say that. It's so insignificant compared to who we are, with the language that we've been given to talk about it, and then how it's supposed to be something we fight over. We are so ancient. Oh my God. And I'm so grateful for the perspective that I have as a healer and as a dimensional traveler to see these things. It's so exhausting. I'm happy many Afro-Indigenous folks are waking up, for example. Right, because it's just the fact that they really try, they really have people convinced that they really have people convinced that I can't even get it out. I can't even get it out. It's just the lies, the audacity, of the lies that they have had people convinced of trying to tell people where they come from and where they don't come from. You don't, and just trying to deliberately hide that information from people. It's just so hateful. Hey, boo. Do you dance? Used to. I still dance, just not in the club. You can still tip me though. I'm still laughing at this person who lied about liking and subscribing so they could ask me a question about what their guides think. Yeah. So I want you guys to really be conscious of the power of your words and let your words flow. Like, let your words flow like water. That was the mantra that came through from Calliope in the healing. Let your words flow like water. And this is sexual healing. And, wherever you can have these conversations and let your words flow, do it. If don't make them flow towards someone that doesn't want to hear them. Just let them flow in a way that brings you profit and prosperity. And don't turn away from having those like conversations in a relationship also to get to some mutual understanding. In one of my past lives, I was Greek and living in a temple with a bunch of other femmes, and we entertained only high vibrational men. It was empowering. Sacred hoes. Cool. Yeah. Because, I know that there's some people that can do parthenogenesis and spontaneous rebirth without needing sperm. But for some of us, we need sperm to make a baby. And, I always said this, even when I was a straight up dyke, strictly dykely. And I always said when I have babies, I want to do it the natural way. I always felt that way. Like, I don't know. So I guess that's not really strictly dykely, but yeah, I felt that strongly. Like when I have children, I want to be the natural way. And I don't just want to have children. I want to have a family. When these kids say, who is my dad or where's my dad? First of all, I don't even want that to even be a question that they would even ask. But I want to know, like, yeah, I can point that man out to them and send them on their way to him, and it's just so much of like where, looking at my own expectations for relationships, like, so dealing with the parts of me that feel like it would be much better to raise children without a man around. But then, like, knowing that that's a wound, like, and it's a deep wound that will only be healed in my bloodline through having a strong family and a strong family unit and a strong partnership to raise children with, and like not accepting anything less, and understanding that like there's generational curses that I will not replicate. I refuse to. First of all, you have two mamas. One has a vagina and the other a penis. You can do whatever you want to do. Anyone can do whatever they want to do. And then that's it. That too is because why should a man, like, what? Okay, it's like, like, first of all, people are like, oh well, a man should work and the woman should stay home, or the woman should work and then that's like unorthodox for like the woman to work and the man to stay home. We're not. It's like, it's so annoying. We don't promote heteronormativity here. But there's honestly no other way to have some of these conversations except by using this language when we're talking about, like, it's like when we're talking about like people. But it's so weird because all these different labels, for example, like a lot of people might think I'm cisgender. I'm not. I don't identify that way. But when I'm going to speak about this dynamic, sometimes I might be speaking from that perspective, or it might come off like that, because there's like limits to how to have these conversations, and we still clearing out our throat chakras, because I like the idea of like completely breaking down the gender binary, and I've like said to myself, like, I want a relationship with no gender roles. But then when it comes to having a relationship, especially, people have their own concepts of like their own gender roles and how they want to relate to another person, and polarity is sexually attractive. That polarity creates that spark. there's a different energy. Like if there's not a polarity, there's a different energy which can be really nice and nurturing, which that's what like I've found in some of the best like relationships that I've had with women. That nurturing, like there didn't need to be the polarity, but in those relationships that were like the sex was like really like hot and heavy, or like the connection was really passionate, there was the polarity. But I think that also can play on those generational wounds and the nervous system wounding too. So we have to be conscious of the energies when they're coming up. But like we're in, you know, right now, like it's like there's you don't have to be a certain gender to have a womb or to have children, you know, like first of all, everybody has a womb no matter who you are, whether you want to use it to have children or not, or whether you physically can use it to have children or not. That's your creative center. And that's while we're speaking and using this, because like men need to speak more, and people who've been socialized like to be silent for any reason or to not show their emotions for any reasons, like this was indicated here is like making more space for you to speak. And that's whether that's privately in your journal or audio diary, or whether that's talking to a person that you can trust, or talking like this for your work, like, you know, getting up and teaching and sharing your expertise. But like ultimately, like exercising your throat chakra, getting stuff off your chest, because when you get off your chest, your heart becomes lighter. Then you can become more of yourself. Your solar plexus becomes lighter, and then your womb space can open up, and you can really get creative. Because a lot of us, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of our creativity. We've still just been making a safe place for ourselves to just be and be able to be creative and express ourselves. And we're going to continue that work through the rest of the Virgo season. So I'm gonna keep checking back in with y'all, but I'm gonna log off for now. I like to believe I have two wombs, sacral and throat. I love that. They're very connected, and those colors, orange and blue, is the reason why they're complementary. And like it's the picture of the cervix. First of all, there's a cervix in your throat and a cervix in your vagina, like for a reason, you know. So yes, I love that. I love that you're working with that, and we're gonna keep working with that and keep working with that energy, and just like, you know, simple light touches, like just to really like let ourselves open up and let all the energy just kind of like lighten off of us. I know you brought up the men balding and demonic possession, but I actually saw someone like that a few months ago. How did you hear about early balding and demonic possession? That's a topic for a whole nother live. We will talk about that, but it's a lot of the things that I know, nobody told me. I figured it out. I downloaded it because of doing the work to open myself spiritually. A lot of life's mysteries and occult mysteries have naturally come to me. So we'll talk more about that next time. Love y'all. Peace, healers. Masalame. Oh yeah, and over here. Bye, you guys. Peace.